Oh man, looks like it's been a little while. A long while, actually. Well, hey, a month isn't that long. Looking at you. Anyway, this is Breezy, the indie game I've been working on. If you don't know what Breezy is, it's basically a golf game, but instead of hitting the ball, you control the wind. Anyway, I've done a lot of work on Breezy this past month, so let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Oh man, dive right into it? Sound like some sort of YouTuber. As you saw in the last devlog, I've been working a lot on level design, specifically finishing the first 18 courses. The last course I made in particular is really cool. It consists of a few pillars, and when you land on each pillar, the water level raises to just below that pillar. And it's not just for looks, it also makes it easier to restart the level if you fall in, since you can just hit space to restart instead of wasting the rest of your shots. The next thing I did was to make the camera look a little bit smoother. Before, whenever you transition to a different camera angle, the camera would just awkwardly snap to that next position. Now when you press a button to change the angle, the camera will smoothly glide to its next position. The reason I was making these changes to the camera is actually because I was getting Breezy ready to make an E3 trailer. Zane from Let's Talk Game Design actually agreed to put a trailer for Breezy in his E3 Let's Talk Games Direct. And if you have the time, make sure to check out that Direct because it has a lot of other cool indie games. Anyway, that trailer got me thinking about the people that were actually going to be playing the game and their experience when playing it. Now, obviously, I'm an MLG pro gamer, but not all of my target audience is the best at gaming. I'm aiming for more of the casual gamers, people who would play DS and Wii games. And yes, I know it's a little bit cliche to talk about hardcore versus casual gamers in 2021, but I still want to accommodate everybody in my gameplay. And that's where the time travel comes in. So, say you're on that level we talked about earlier, with the pillars and the rising water. You're on the last pillar and you're about to hit the flag, but you get your angle wrong and you fall into the water. Normally you'd have to restart the entire level and try all 5 jumps again. Now I've had this happen to me plenty of times and it definitely made me want to rage quit. Not just playing the game, but also making it. In fact, I guess you could say this whole decision is sort of a rage quit from making actually good level design. Anyway, my decision was to make it that so at any time you could press a button and you would rewind to the start of your last swing, where you could change the wind direction or change your timing. And this decision was a lot easier than I thought it would be. I don't really have to take a snapshot of the entire memory or anything like that. All I have to do is record the ball's position, as well as the position of certain level elements that I might want to change, and then play all that back when the user hits the rewind button. It may be simple, but it'll definitely change the experience for the better. And speaking of simple, it's time for the level select menu. Now I've had a title screen since almost the beginning of the game, but it just looks kind of trashy and I'd like to spice it up, maybe with some, actual features. And the obvious most important feature is a level select, so you can jump to any level you want at any time. This was pretty simple, just make 18 different buttons and assign them each a level. But it was just mostly tedious to execute. But tedious is a nice change from controlling space-time. After the level select screen, I decided to make the title screen itself look a little bit more pretty. But I don't want to design actual art, so I'll just use some, in my opinion, pretty landscapes from the game itself. For this, I started by using Unity's player press system to record the last level the player was in. Then, at the beginning of the next play session, I had Unity load that same scene behind the title screen with a little bit of special camera movement. And to me at least, it's pretty crazy how much that changes everything. The title screen goes from looking kinda dull to very bright and much more in line with what I want the feel of the game to be. As a bonus, this also speeds up the loading from going to the title screen to the actual level. This makes the play experience even more seamless. Speaking of making the play experience more seamless, I don't know, that wasn't a very good segue. Anyway, shaders. I wanted to create a shader that shows the position of the ball behind other geometry, kind of like in 3D platformers like A Hat in Time or Mario Odyssey. And unlike those games, it probably shouldn't be very subtle, since the pixelation will hide a lot of the subtle changes in shading. Instead, I wanted to go for something big and bold, like inverting the colors of the geometry obscuring the ball. Now, I'm not at all talented in writing shaders, so I definitely had to get a lot of help from the internet, but eventually I found the 2 lines of code that actually did what I needed. So now you can see where the ball is, even if it's behind something else. This isn't very useful now, but once levels get more crowded and packed with different geometry, it'll help a lot in figuring out where the ball actually is. Another pretty obvious addition is pausing. I shouldn't have to explain pausing to you, it's a pretty simple concept. But if you don't know what it is, pause the video and... oh wait, never mind. Just get some help. Anyway, pausing is pretty easy. All you have to do is tell Unity to set the timescale to 0, and everything stops moving, just like that. Although it did take a little work to get the camera smoothly transitioning while the screen was paused. All I had to do was make the camera use unscaled delta time instead of regular delta time. And I think that's... wait, hang on, we're not at 8 minutes yet. I have to find something to pad out the time. I added this nice satisfying sound when you complete the level. Isn't that so satisfying? Make sure to share with all your friends. Oh man, now I really do sound like a YouTuber. I better stop before it gets any worse. Have a good day.